pick up the Nico, something that On has really piloted to success.
I do not want to see the Pantheon make it through any single game in the playoffs. I'm looking at you, LPL teams.
Man.
Although I really love the pick, it is so OP if you give it over. I feel like it's an auto loss. But I like some of the focus, some of the differentiation. It's not all into one pot, it seems like, for both sides. Trying to take away some of the utility that both of them love to go for in these first games of the series. And I love it because we're actually getting that best of 5 setup for both these teams for the first time, and at least for this split. And we get the best of final band over towards Bin.
Maybe that is just us looking towards this Gwen. Maybe we're looking towards a Scion blind here. The Rumble as well. Again, a champion that did get nerfed on this patch. But typically when we see Mbessa, you're kind of scared to play into Rumble. So I wonder what exactly this is setting up for JDG. Funnily, what we've seen throughout the year is Varus being really high priority with the nerfs that came in on 25-16, making so that his on-hit build is a little stronger, taking some power out of his poke build. We have seen that this champion has started to fall off in priority, especially as we get closer to more best of 5s and Fearless.
We do get the Rumble for Xiaoxu as a very big comfort for him. I know some of the clips we were looking at, maybe giving him a little bit of onus on that one, but it's going to be the Hot Pot special as Jarvan comes through.
Alright, so clear team fighting tools here for JDG. Rumble Equalizer, an undodgeable Cataclysm means that some of mobile carries are probably not going to be on the table. Varus starts to get very questionable. Sivir starts to be very worrisome. Ooh. Maybe kind of pushes BLG into that Xayah Rakan later in the draft, but an instant slam coming in from BLG solo laners, the Ornn and the Annie. So already showing that BLG, I'm gonna say it, they look like they want to go a little bit more towards the later game. They have, I think, solid enough team fighting tools.
Fighting fire with fire. You know, you got the Forge God and the little girl that has a burning bear. I don't know. But we'll see what JDG try to get in the last part of this first phase. I expect the solo lane tie-up, and they will get the Galio here. So we do have our top trio set on both sides when we were talking about priority before the draft.
Okay, 80 carries, Xayah and Kai'Sa. These are two champions that both these 80 carries are going to really love and gives them either mobility or some tools to play, especially when you look at JDG's composition. If I'm Peyz, I might just be looking to snap it up on 4 here. It could be interesting. We also do not have any of the supports already on through. Yeah, counterpick support is possible. I wouldn't necessarily put that on Zhuo, though. I really think that if you look at this team, I'm looking at it right now, and Braum and Alistar scream to me as necessary picks here for JDG.
All right, we'll see what they end up getting. And is that Nautilus final ban to join that Rakan from JDG's side? A little bit of ADC focus already for BLG as they took down that Sivir. See what they go with in their final ban of the first game of playoffs. I can't be more excited. I know I'm getting all giddy here, but I do wonder if they would have focused on Peyz a little bit with these hyper scalers. There's already been 2 ADC bans. Especially seeing the Yunara and the Sivir, but that Braum ban does end up slinking through.
This has to be Alistar, because the last engage support that's left right now is Rel and Alistar, and you don't want to be playing the Rel side of this. I think this was really expertly handled on the back end of draft. However, we do have to see what BLG's bottom lane is going to be, because I think this ultimately changes how BLG are going to want to play. If it's something like a Lucian pairing, they're going to be a little bit more aggressive. If it is the Xayah, then it takes away some of that bite that we were looking for, and I'd be worried about their damage profile as we get later into the game. JDG have a lot of tanks right now.
I think the shred from the Gatling and everything like that from the Corki could be good, right? They have a lot of single target all-in damage right now for BLG, and they are going with that strategy.
All right, so I say this from Shadow, and he's going to have lanes that he can play for and prevent. All he's doing this game is stopping Strin from getting action down. We are getting On's Bard, which I know you're a big fan of.
Oh, yeah, the biggest fan.
We have to be able to move around the map. This game is going to be predicated, in my mind, for BLG to watch how Shadow and On are able to play around these lanes, get Elk into a good position, and JDG, I wouldn't say this is necessarily a cut and clear dive composition. They can actually play this a lot slower than their opponents, and eventually slow roll, but their damage is very limited. It is Peyz and it is Xiaoxu.
I do love that we get the Peyz Kaisa, though. I think that can be just a 1v9 style carry in his hands.
True.
But I'm very, very much loving at least the style we're getting from both teams. Both getting a lot of comfort in some ways, but taking some of these prio picks, making obviously the games later in the Fearless a little bit more spicy, but having clear-cut strategies. I think that's what I want to see a lot of our LPL teams come in, is giving themselves a low bar of execution, especially in the first series of playoffs.
Yeah, this is all about first impressions now for us, because we're done with the regular season. I said going into play-ins that for JDG, this is a clean slate for me. I need to see, you know, we're done with the roster movements. We are hopefully done with seeing a carousel of different supports come on through. You've now played the back half of the season with this team. It seems like you got a little bit better as we kind of finish out the season, so let's do it. Let's put it all together. Let's make 2025 something that fans are not going to want to regret.
And hopefully taking a positive step forward here. I know both teams legendary in their own right. Obviously, BLG trying to reclaim the throne from last year where they went back-to-back champions. Trying to make that run now with this first step forward. JDG, it's been a little bit up and down, a little bit rocky for them, especially in this split number 3, but they're finding their own. And that race to the Silver Dragon Cup begins. Our first two challengers step into the ring. It is JDG taking on BLG. Game 1 of this best of 5 kicking off now. Let's hear those dios.
和公牛角力，你会尝到牛。
Oh, all right.
I heard a little bit there. The fan mics
some.
aren't facing the right way, all right? They must be facing away.
Whoa.
It's a
Early
little bit
trading
low one.
already. Would be scared if I'm BLG, but it looks like they want to try to leverage the fact that Knight has a point-and-click stun, level 1. So, good enough movements
helps,
coming
right?
on through. Yeah, and then they don't know where their bottom lane is. They're like, oh, okay, maybe there's more people than they thought. I mean, Bard is obviously very, very broken in that stage. So, yeah, early pathing. What I want to see from Shun is how we're going to use this Jarvan. He doesn't necessarily fall off into the late game as usual, but he has a very cut and clear job here in this game, in my mind.
And I'm wondering, is it going to be that kind of full damage build that we have seen some Jarvans go, or if he's going to go a little bit more tankier as we move forward here. But it is going to be opposite side starts for both junglers on their own. So we'll see where they really want to get that focus going early. I do feel like if Shun can get some pressure early on top side, Xiaoxu can really just break that open for himself, while Shadow really wants to relieve some of the pressure potentially in mid or bot.
The problem that we're going to see in this game, and Jesus Christ, double cleanse and heal already gone from JDG bot lane. Where are we getting priority throughout this game? Because we get into a mid-game spike, there's going to be an Annie, there's going to be Corki. You look at the solo lanes right now, Galio, once he gets his first back end, should be able to handle the weight fine, but even topside, you're looking for a push from Xiaoxu. Ornn is incredibly resilient, even with some of the buffs that we've been seeing, and especially now with the nerfs that Rumble has gotten. So, yeah. I think it is tough here for Shun to find any lanes that are going to outright give him priority early on, and even as this game goes on.
And that's something we've seen be kind of a falling back point for both these teams in a lot of ways. I know there's been a little bit of shakeup for both, but in different regards. But finding stability in jungle came. Oh my God, Scout gonna get 1v1 by Knight. Thought maybe he was gonna go for the flash play there. Scout will make it out alive. We'll be just fine for the time being. What I was going to say is the teams, even though with all these big names in the lanes, things along those lines, I mean, a lot of their success hinges on how early and often these jungles get involved.
Oh, look what we've got here. Mr. Corki.
Redeploy.
There we go. Let's see if this is going to be solo lane for Corki. I think getting solo experience for this champion is actually really, really good. But can they make this work? And is Bard really going to be in a great time? Already roamed on through mid. Hasn't taken the recall quite yet. Is actually going to get eyes on the Shun. Very important information gained here for BLG.
Yeah, they'll be able to play around that a little bit. Soon actually going to be pushed away from the Scuttle Crab as well, so he'll lose all that time he spent. He'll put the tail between the legs and try to walk down towards bot side and take that reverse scuttle, but Xiaoxu now in some trouble. The early heal and the flash as a response. Really good punishment and map rotation right now from BLG.
I think Shun just needed to drop this second scuttle on the bottom side and immediately rotate because Peyz and Dwo haven't recalled until now. They weren't able to cover this wave. It means that Xiaoxu loses his flash, and I mean, great for Shun. You got yourself the Crab, you're even with your opponent, but now your Rumble has lost both Summoner spells, and it's very easy, I think, for BLG, once they hit those level 6s, to start to make some impacts, and if On finds a timer, then it becomes even more meaningful for them.
We take look at the response here. JDG have finally matched the 2v2 at least. It's going to be a little bit of quiet on the home front here. Dragon is going to be coming up here very soon. It's going to be an Ocean Dragon first. Take it or leave it, I guess, in that regard, in a single stack. But that also begs the question of how early these objectives need to start stacking for either side in the long term, especially with the way that the Dragons work. I think the early Dragons can tee you up to have that objective done. Oh,
yeah. Dragons are just a critical point of the meta now. There's no split pushing. Grubs are fake, right? If you're winning, they're awesome, but if you can actually play on the side lane is really important. I think for JDG, it is a little easier for them to play on sides. Galio makes it so you can cheat timers onto the mid wave. You have Rumble, who can either use his equalizer minutes before a fight to set up a wave or play around his big team fights. You see now that Shun is making his way up into top side. Does this turn into some summoner spells?
They don't have any vision. Oh, really good reactive flash from On there, as will end up making it away as well. But On will be down flash. That's definitely punishable. Shun will have shown on top, though, so that means Dragon already going to BLG.
Good start for them getting this Dragon. They're a team that's going to really feel good as the game goes on. The Ornn giving out all of these items is going to be something that's really important. So a mini note for us to watch as we see whether or not and how Bin is going to grab experience here in this game.
Ooh, we see the Cole already for Peyz, so going with the safer option here. Keep farming up. I don't know how you feel about the Cole across the board. I know the Yunara is destined to always have the Cole, but definitely on a back-footed game, it could feel good.
It's a pit stop. I think Peyz recognizes that he's probably never going to go into all-out trades versus a Corki very early on. This is essentially the newest lane bully to pop up. But
but Shun said they weren't going to get bullied.
Not yet. Not yet. Okay, look, lane bully and getting bullied in game. Look, JDG, they won all their matchups. I'm going to hold that. BLG. Bin.
Should be all right, and if not, he's going to bait the team over here, and he brings Shadow over. He's going to flash out of Zwo. Zwo can't hit a headbutt pulverize because they keep flashing. Because you can't find anything there. They do end up making it out, and JDG will take hold of this bot side.
But what are BLG grabbing from this? Because they move Knight a little bit to kind of feign towards this direction. They get the flash away from Bin, so he loses out on what looks to be about half a wave there of experience and gold. But ultimately, there's still the grub spawning in a minute's time, and now they're not going to have this for the equalizer that's going to be up. Shun has to finish and get close to level 6 soon. I'm looking at On. He has teleport. He can play on both sides of the map and potentially look to trade off of this objective. I think that BLG can feel slightly comfortable with the state of the map right now.
And I think the way that both teams have their setups, I think early advantages are awesome, but both have been kind of putting their eggs in the basket of getting to that late game and making sure we get around these big team fights. And I love that that's the first effort we're getting from both teams, kind of taking the respect that maybe we just need to give ourselves as many win conditions as possible as we move forward. But I would love to see a little bit of gumption, I guess, in the earlier parts here, as it's a 0-0 first game of playoffs at 8 minutes into the game here for both JDG and BLG.
Well, do you want some gumption? Well, we've got to fight in 5 seconds. These grubs are going to come, whether or not we want them to.
It has to. Contractually, LPL is forced to fight around grubs.
Yes.
We've already known.
Look at how both of these teams are leveraging the map. Scout missed out on a wave, or he had to take a recall timer, so it's going to be him first out onto the map. But I told you, that first base for Galio, he feels a little bit more strong to move. JDG, they get their bot lane in position as well. You're going to look for something on the Xiaoxu. Still no flash.
Yeah, they want nothing to do with that side of the map. They do want something to do with Xiaoxu, as Shadow going to follow up on the double CC chain, and Xiaoxu will be gone, so that will be the trade on the other side and the kill given to Bin.
All right, Bin, let's get some gold. Let's get ourselves some solo experience. Not a lot of the wave was there in a great position, so probably just going to be, at most, maybe a single plate. JDG can continue into a second play, although I think it's really difficult. You have Elk, who still has the Valkyrie. You still have Flash. Playing into Jarvan Alistar, we've seen already in this game. Very hard to hit a headbutt pulverize.
Hey, they can only flash so many times, you know? You have to You have to think about the amount of flashes they have. He's gotten 2 of them so far. As, we'll see if that payoff ends up coming through. We've had a pretty even lane state. Like the biggest lead to speak of is like 10 CS here or there across different matchups. And I very much wonder if this is going to get broken open here at all, since the Grubs were kind of just given over in a way. And it feels like we aren't getting any sort of proactivity, which for me is a speaking point starting into this new meta, I guess, the one that we're getting with the new patch, and how they want to try to dictate these. We have seen a consistency in that team fighting meta across this entire split.
Just across the years, right? Like, team fighting's always going to be like, we're playing around objectives, you know, they put a lot of power into dragons, so you're going to always have to show up for these fights. Peyz gets massively chunked in the bottom lane. Bro. Nice. Okay. Let's go. Square up. You've got to be careful, though. Both of our sports have level 6, and from range, On is going to have a lot more influence with both the portals and the ultimates. So watching how they can try to leverage this kind of advantage really, really important. But I like how you noted the fact of the advantages and just going for team fighting.
And that level 6 definitely breaks things open a little bit, at least from the supportive role, but also tying those compositions together. We've already seen the BLG can have that long distance engage. That's something from the draft that we really talked about. It's like single targeting somebody after they get all their engage down, because they have a lot of CC chaining they can do. But JDG have reactions that they have on their side that can really, bend and not break in those situations.
Their range is just very strange from JDG, because functionally the way that their champions are just in the game, fairly short range. You have a lot of melee champions on this team, but the way that they can reach out and grab one person, they can go in for a shun engage, then you have that set up with the Galio. You have this ultimate as well, and Peyz can obviously dive forward. But I think what we're seeing is more of a JDG that we got through the regular season, where they're not as confident to take early fights and try to skirmish their opponents. This feels like it's very JDG coded and not very BLG coded right now. BLG are a team that are always looking to, they have players that are going to look to outplay. All of these laners have been incredibly aggressive throughout stretches of the regular season.
And that brings us to that conversation of it's kind of a shocker how much influence maybe some of the lesser known names amongst giants have had for both of these two teams. And we do see that Dragon number 2 started up already by JDG. BLG are going to be in the area, so they will be trying to contest this one. It looks like JDG, again, like we were saying, maybe not as confident to move forward in this point. On won't be able to hit the stun there, but they will move forward with this vision clearing.
BLG need to be really quick with this play. They need to take this dragon. JDG are not in position, and this could have been a wave that Xiaoxu was looking for. He's going to teleport into this play. Watch how JDG enter this pit, and if BLG can stop them.
They really want to get the Venn diagram going. The hot pot special. Can they get it going here? They're going to go for the engage, and there's your hot pot, but it's without the pot. The sauce is going everywhere, and it looks like JDG might have just got it turned all on him. Cataclysm finally comes in. Elk flashes away their Peyz, getting ran down by Finn right now. On's going to escape the magical journey, but the Flame Spitter follows him no matter where he goes. Ben's still tanking up the front line here, trying to get away, but shouldn't. He goes for Knight. He knows exactly where to strike, and it's to the heart of BLG as they lose 2. It's a double kill to their old jungler Shun, and a triple going the way as now Xiaoxu has shown his own colors, and that's Dragon as well to JDG.
What a weird fight. It's Xiaoxu. A quadra?
A quadra? Hey, you've asked the question. Xiaoxu, can they win without him when he's not doing well? Well, he's doing well here, Alk.
Oh my god, this is a player that we were hyping up at the end of the season to potentially make an all-pro ballot. I feel bad now that we're reverse, we're going in results-based analysis, but he starts this game off 4-0-1 on the Rumble, finishes Leandri's, backs. I want to see his inventory right now. I don't care about the replay. No, Riot Games. All right, let's get into this replay. So first, we're doing a lot of stuff here. The Ornn ultimate is going this way. We have this massive setup around this part of the jungle. What I am really worried about is there's no Galio ult all throughout this. This could have been executed so much better here by JDG, but they split the fight, and my worries about the individual damage completely nullified if we're going to have Elk nowhere near this fight.
That's the toughest part. It's like he had to get away because of so much engagement coming his way, but being able to get this catch on, the fact that Xiaoxu gets a quadra at the end of this, I mean, that just is so snowbally on the Rumble, even with some of the changes you were talking about going through the draft. And it's setting this guy up who, amongst these big names, continues to find access and continues to be such a massive part to this team's win condition.
To the international fans, or maybe some newer fans of the LPL, they have no idea who this Xiaoxu guy is. If you've watched any internationals in the last couple of years, you'll know at least one of these players. But like Xiaoxu is a player that has been kind of rumbling around in the middle of the pack of LPL, hasn't really found too many successful lineups. Obviously was on previously
got saved
RNG
from
this
RNG.
year. Yeah, and like 4 out of the 5 members of RNG, they get basically disbanded and going for contest on red.
Okay, well, they're just going all in, and now soon they're about to pay the price. He does flag and drag his way up, but Zwo has engaged that equalizer, really setting them up as Bin has TP'd in. Shadow tries to go back in, and now he's going to be in trouble. Bin luckily blocks the Void Seeker there, but now he maybe gives up his life. He's going for the Ornhorn distraction tool, as they will make their escape through the Hex portals and go out the top side.
That could have ended so much worse. Why is Scout not using ultimate? I think JDG feel like they can't actually continue that play because Zwo and Shun are so low. I feel like if Xiaoxu has flash there, they might get a little spicy with it. Those are huge investments now coming in from BLG. Flash from Shadow, no teleport now from Bin. Can JDG continue this map play now? Because there's going to be a Herald. You can see that BLG, they're moving into the bot side of the map. They do not want to get into a scuffle right now with Jindong.
And that would be 2 major objectives in the top side of the map that they just kind of give over, opting into the scaling, opting into not giving themselves up. I think they've changed. I think they've changed their minds, because we do see that reverse clear coming through from Shadow. Didn't finish off his Krugs and is now coming up to this top side.
Yeah, but they have
okay,
no
he's
priority.
Gonna turn back around.
Yeah, like look at where their teammates are. Like my Corki and my Bard are playing on the bottom side of mid. Annie is bottom lane as 2 and probably wants to get level 11 before she ends up showing up for that fight. JDG are going to get feats of strength here, and this is so surprising when we have seen BLG. You look at their stats, they have the 2nd highest gold difference at 15 in the entire league, only beaten by EDG. They have 1,200 gold, and a lot of that is in Knight and in Elk, and we're just not seeing that in this game.
And that was a conversation point we brought up as they all in onto On. Here's that legendary Bard performance as he's getting ran down now, and you're about to get the horns from Zwo as On, maybe finds an escape, is going to die to the standard of Shun, and Shadow is there to try to take down Zwo on the back end, but here comes the heroic entrance as well. Knight is standing at the ready with the CC, so that means JDG will back away.
That's a fine timer. It is a minute and a half before the dragon spawns. I like that, though. Both of these supports, we've talked almost all season about, you know, Zwo and On. They get caught out a few times. Might have to hold that. Xiaoxu.
We're making up for all the time that we didn't have kills as they TP play on the top side, and BLG's legendary solo laners combine to get a kill back for BLG themselves as they do take down Xiaoxu in the side lane and a shutdown.
There's no one in mid, so where was this Herald? This Herald simply got a single crash in mid and did nothing. Okay, all right, JDG, I'm a little disappointed. Another wave gonna be missed here on top lane. Might be first turret. Surprising, the team with 3 grubs and the Herald somehow loses first turret versus BLG.
Shun does show up. Says, you know, you guys are my friends, but you stink and I'm walking away. As he's gonna have to fight over these Krugs. And it's JDG trying to recoup some things. I'm glad I broke you with that one. The bot lane turret is going to go down, though. A little bit of standing gold to JDG themselves. And Scout's right back on his ish again, right? Like, this guy just loves to find a little hidey hole in the side lane and get fed. And the Galio, I don't know how that's going to work.
Galio, look, Galio can be really potent in this game. You look at the damage mix from the solo laners here. I think that Galio getting stats is important, especially as part of the front line and part of that engage. Whether or not this is going to be that hybrid Galio, I think is more interesting, because you see that Phoenix Codex hints to me that we're going to get more AP, maybe a Rift Maker later on into this build here, so Scout will be able to contribute. Already getting now a setup around this dragon. It is 3rd dragon of the game, and I would say that BLG have a much better time of starting this. They need Xiaoxu to fix this top wave, and Shun is nowhere near this fight right now. And you
he
still
just
have
finished
no
second item,
entrance.
though. Yeah, he did just back to finish that second item. I don't know if that's going to make the difference. We have item completions for everybody. It does look like JDG are just going to give it up, even with the item advantage, just because they didn't have setup around the pit.
It's that play on bottom side. Remember, they're going really heavy onto this Bard, and then onto Shadow. They lose a hero's entrance. Now they don't have this available for the dragon, so BLG get the 2 dragons of the game. Bin's gonna teleport.
Oh! Zwo just says we're going. Soon going for the Cataclysm, keeping Shadow out of the magical journey, but they don't have damage. That was something we talked about from Draft Alk, and it is coming back to bite them. They have not hit the thresholds they need to, and if Xiaoxu and Peyz aren't there, nothing is dying.
Guess what, though? You're saying, oh, there's not enough damage. Who cares? JDG are going to get the mid turret here, and they're going to move themselves and their vision onto the bottom side of the map. The Otacon up in 50 seconds. Now you look at this from BLG's perspective. No Cyclone, no Flash either. Bin just teleported into the top wave. It's going to take a little bit of time for them to fix their map before they're more willing to move into that side of the map.
Yeah, it's going to be actually really interesting now that we get the redeploys back out. We also have Peyz having completed his Gunsus now. And that's going to be a big spike for the Kai'Sa moving forward in that damage profile we're talking about.
So JDG, they catch this mid wave first. Corki's going to take a recall, but because we're on the Hextech map, we can get around the map a little bit quicker thanks to all of these portals.
Thank you, Arcane.
So look at this setup now coming in. Xiaoxu is going to have TP, so he can always move down the river. You're going to have Galio first on mid wave. This bot wave is going to push in first for JDG. But they're not on this objective immediately. Look at where Shun is. Shun still needs to finish his entire clear, go towards the bottom side of the map. Is this going to be a priority when you have a Kai'Sa on your team? Always have to be scared as the enemy team when you see this champion and an objective is up.
You can definitely burn it, especially with the on-hit style that we're seeing from Peyz, which I just got a shout out I really like in this one. I don't think the kind of poke lethality AP version would do any good in this situation, but JDG are going to start it up, and here they go to burn it.
All right, Shadow's nowhere nearby. Annie's going to move towards top side, and when this is shown, look for the TP coming out. It's also going to be a top wave lost here by BLG. They're late to this. They're nowhere near this fight.
Gotta try to burn it right now, right here. It's gonna get tempered faded, and On is gonna give him an entrance. Here comes the Horn. Can it go down? It's gonna go over to Shun and JDG. Equalizer comes through, but no hot pot is there. But they turn! They find him! Alk is completely caught by himself. And that is unfortunate for BLG's faith in this moment as JDG run forth. And they might just find Ben too. He's going to flash away, try to get to the magical journey. He makes it through. As wow, Shadow. He tries to go through, goes for a little bit of plays, goes for the Cyclone fun shenanigans, but he still loses almost all of his health and all of the pressure for JDG to gain on the bot side of the map.
JDG are making it happen. They got a slower early game. We thought that BLG were going to be a bit more aggressive going into playoffs, but Game 1, first appearance here, and they are not looking the same. We get back into this play. I mean, look at where their DPS are. Everyone's on this top side, and Elk is here. Where are you? Hold up. No, you know, you're getting drawn on, bro. What is this? Where are you? We're in Narnia. Look at your team. Your team is here. I'm
That's
very
tough.
confused here, Lennon. We've seen
He wanted
BLG
to try to steal it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, BLG have been a team that, yes, they don't have the greatest setups. Sometimes they are a team that looks a little lightheaded, but this is a brand new level already starting playoffs, and this is a dangerous precedent to start. Again, low sample size. We'll see if they can bounce back. We got a whole best of 5 ahead of us.
Dude, I swear that the bane of the LPL's existence are breaks. Like, I swear our teams, they don't like having breaks of competitive play, all right? It never works out, all right? No, but we'll see if they can clean things up. Obviously, just the first game of playoffs here in the upper bracket for them, but definitely some leanings that maybe aren't necessarily the cleanest things happening right now. We do see side lane focus coming through from JDG, though, as they push in this deep wave. Going to get the back out from Scout, though, and if we're looking at some of this team fight behavior, this little bit of a lead that JDG have gotten, about 3,500, how are we kind of saving ourselves as BLG? Is time the factor? Is that our biggest saving grace?
Well, it has to be now, right? Because you're going to have Bin, who's going to hit level 14 soon. Obviously, losing that Otacon really hurts because you miss out on all of that additional experience you're going to get from the Blood Petals. But you've hit 2 items on Knight. You now have completed Mermana and Trinity Force here for Elk. This has to be around the time where this BLG competition actually starts to thrive, but they didn't use the lane advantages that they would have had from bottom lane. It was barely a CS lead here for Elk. And Knight, honestly, the Annie has been quite invisible this game. We have not seen the coordination be there for BLG. So they always have the tools. They have players that have that X factor to be able to make it happen, the clutch. But it needs to go, and maybe that's because On's not on traditional support.
True. Hey, he's well known for the Bard in a lot of ways, positive and negative. The biggest thing I want to see for BLG is to just hyper-focus on a front-to-back or at least one singular target. They will spawn out Scout, though, finding that flank. But honestly, that is the ticket to success. I mean, keep the fight in front of you for BLG, and I feel like it goes okay.
I have setups. They're pushing in. Scout is still on vision, but he needs to get this ultimate off. Oh no.
50-50. They're going to try to get over onto this duo. Whoa, goes unbreakable, but he is broken immediately in half. 50-50 between Shadow and Shun. Is he going to stay in the pit? He's trying to, but he's going to take the flying drag back over. Is he going to go back in? Doesn't have any ways to, and that'll be third dragon going to BLG. 2 Hex Dragons in a row, and now on Soul Point.
I am just so confused as to what Zhuo is thinking in these fights. He's trying to stop Bin from getting his combo off. I think as the Alistar, you need to be stopping Shadow from getting anywhere near this pit. And we did not see any kind of coordination with Scout and Zhuo, with Shun and Zhuo. The support here for JDG, the newest member on this team, needs to be able to step up and stand aside his teammates. If they want any we have BLG, we were talking about BLG looking a little questionable. They're down 3,500 gold, but they're 1 dragon away from Soul. This could completely wipe the slate clean and basically be like, oh, the first 25, 26 minutes of this game didn't matter.
There's going to be so much intangible gold, some hidden gold here. Not only that, but the ornaments coming online as well. That gold lead is going to be so fake, as we're going to see them try to move out onto this top side of the play for JDG. They're going to catch out Knight, who is just all is lonesome in the side lane. He's going to try to TP, but Scout should have his number. Winds of War come through, and Xiaoxu gets him with the long bomb. The equalizer comes through now. Shadow's getting cooked himself right into the hot pot without the pot again, and Ben is the only one to come back up and try to save this turret. JDG, they strike again and take 2.
Oh, and this is going to be Baron. More of the same here from JDG. Let's move into the side lane. We still didn't use the hero's entrance. What are we waiting for, Scout? What's happening? What is this game? This
can't
is
play Galio again, so you know.
Where the goats? We knew this was going to go to 5. It was going to be sloppy. There was going to be things happening. And what was one of the notes we had in before our prep coming into the series was look at supports. Both of them had questionable moments here. And while it was around the dragon here for this team, what is this Bard providing? There's no front line. There's not a Nautilus potentially engaged. There's not a Rakan or an Alistar like from Zhuo to be able to prevent any of this. So On has to be more proactive with his engagements. And again, JDG, they have a lot of tools to be able to take these objectives down.
All I'm going to say is On is about 2/9 away from his power spike. He won a world champion, or not world champion, LPL championship on an 09 Bard, as maybe he's going to get a little bit closer to that now as he goes down. That's instantly a turret in the bot side going to JDG, and they're going to look at the mid lane too.
I think this is super exciting. We might actually have a playoff series that is going to maybe go to this distance. It's only 1 game. This is the perfect time for us to overreact.
I'm here for 5 games.
We're not going to get any more time.
Oh, we're getting a little bit of setup on bots. And there you go, Alk. He saved it for 27 minutes into the game, and he just set up a triple for JDG as they march down. And this is a hell of an entrance into the Silver Dragon Cup Arena as JDG smashed BLG in game number 1 out of seemingly nowhere. A 10,000 gold lead, 27 minutes in. The last Nexus turret is there, but Alk is just going to try to run his own lonesome away. On is still there, but this Bard won't nearly get to his 09 power spike, and JDG strike first.
That's awesome. That is incredible here for JDG, and a strong enough showing that we need to see from them consistently if they want to bring them down in this series. Still a lot more to play. I think really important for JDG. Talk about side select going into these series. They just won on red side, which now means if we go to game 5, BLG are going to end up on red side and JDG are going to have blue. They're going to have first pick, and we've seen how powerful that has been throughout all of the playoffs. What an incredible game to start, and if this is going to be the beginning of JDG earning the respect back of a lot of fans, it has to be with a win here tonight.
Yeah, it does indeed. That would be a very big feather in the cap to take down BLG. And hey, Shun called it. It's not going to be as easy to bully this JDG this time around, and definitely isn't looking that way. You got to ask what that blue side is going to be giving, at least moving forward as well. It's crazy to think that a team won on red side for that game number 1. Like you say, the fruits of the labor as we go forward. But I think it's just a stark contrast to maybe some of the ups and downs we've seen from JDG over this year, and a lot of consistency, even with, some of the question marks around some of those heroic entrances. I think we saw a lot of cohesion in the team calls and the team plays in that one. And for me, that's one of the most important parts when you first see a team coming for a playoff run, is to see them on the same page.
And it comes at such a weird time because usually I think that one of the few tanks that we actually see Bin play very well, at least this season, is his Ornn. So to see him feel a little discombobulated around the map, honestly, again, something we've talked about during the draft.
Game.
Like, On and Shadow did very little here. Like, Shadow is still looking for engagements. He's getting to the pit, but On is playing this range support that doesn't provide enough frontline or engagement for this team. His name is On and Off for a reason. We need to see him in the front line, making space for his carries, and that's why Nico and Nautilus are so important to how BLG tend to play.
There's another part that we talked about coming into this one when we were going through the candy land of these teams and some of the history between them. And some of the biggest down moments for BLG have been when there's a lot of quietness. It's like a library all of a sudden. And I feel like we got a little bit of that from both Bin and Knight as well. I know you highlighted On too, but the fact we didn't ever get any proactive Knight combos trying to get engages off the table with the tippers, like nobody stepped up to the plate, and you can't have that for BLG. And they just lost 27.5 minutes with a late game comp. They didn't play to that win condition.
You saw me, we came into this scene, I started cringing because I saw like Bin has 8,000 damage, which I should expect from an Ornn, but we came in and we're like, okay, Ornn's a great neutralizer into Xiaoxu, but how did this game start? This was a quadra kill for Xiaoxu right on this play. Like, everything felt like it went right. We did get to see, I do want to put a bit of a stop on maybe some of the JDG hype. I think that their map play in this game wasn't particularly awesome. Again, we kind of highlighted Zhuo towards the end of this game, but there are a lot of really weird decisions, maybe hasty decisions of, I'm going to immediately teleport to this side lane, fix this wave, and then move over. The Galio didn't feel like we got a very cohesive draft, but I'm going to put this more on BLG looked like they didn't come to play here in game number 1.
They're still waking up is my takeaway from this. Oh, God, I don't want to watch this. See, he's trying to steal it, Alk. He just, you know.
He knows his jungler can't do it, and he's like, okay, guys, we're probably just going to need to send it. If I steal this,
no, he was like, Shun's my jungler, right? See? Bam, got him. I had to get it in there, at some point.
I don't know for
bad.
Man. So who's MVP for this game? I think it very clearly might be just Xiaoxu by himself.
I think
played a large majority of this game really well.
36% of this team's damage or something that.
I think it is incredible to see a player like this go up against Bin. Only game 1, and it is Rumble versus Ornn. I'm not saying it's the most skill expressive from BLG's top laner side, but I'm tentatively hopeful.
This is a guy that was like picked up like you pick up like a dog on the side of the road in a box. Somebody left there, right? Like RNG was not a home for him. And it feels like he's starting to carve his own home here at JDG in a way, right? Like it's still very early in his run with JDG, but the fact that this guy is the one that's making the biggest splash on a team like JDG with all the names on it, it's what we have to continuously talk about because it's so impressive.
And he's replacing Ala, who, despite some other things, is a player that historically has at least been kind of a gatekeeper to being a top-level top laner or being a top-level team going against him. So to see him take over that role and I think exceed expectations and also maybe play a little bit better than who he's replacing, a lot of exciting stuff here. It was another matchup that we were kind of looking towards between him and Bin, and we're in the top half of the bracket right now. If either of these teams do lose tonight, they'll still have a second chance, but I think a surprising start here in the series here for JDG.
Surprising, but maybe with the same result as 5 games is the destiny of this series. As you said before, it's probably the closest matchup, if not one of the closest, there with the AL Weibo Gaming series that we're going to have in this earlier bracket, unless any crazy upsets do happen, but it's a legendary matchup with a lot of legendary names, so I expect this one to be a long night, at least for this first series, because I don't think that we're going to get that same BLG 2 times in a row. At least I would hope not. But for JDG, I think it's either Xiaoxu or maybe Shun. I have trouble giving it to anybody but Xiaoxu. But.
I think Xiaoxu deserves it, and not much so far. Only game 1 of the new patch.
No game 1 Andy's out here.
25-17. Didn't see too much changed. Maybe teams are going to still look back at Rumble and see that this champion is still really powerful. Obviously got slight nerfs here on this patch, but has been a champion that's been looked at repeatedly. But thank you to Fearless. Don't got to see it again.
There's yeah, that's something else we'll talk about as we come out of this MVP, but it is going to go to Xiaoxu as well. His first playoff MVP here of the split, but his 5th total at least, and major reason why they found that advantage. All those equalizers, always impactful, always being at the fights at the right time, and a wonderful starting performance against literally the GOAT top laner, it feels like, on a lot of people's leaderboards in Bin on BLG's side of things.
Oh yeah, if he picks up a world championship, then I think he just replaces the Shy on that list for a lot of people. But yeah, Xiaoxu, 71% kill participation, very important. A stat that usually gets a little bit left off, but also I think his Rumble has not had the same impact in some other games later in the season. So glad to see that this series and the LGD series were good pick-me-ups for this JDG.
Yep, and we'll talk about the draft for game number 2, but there's a lot of big, powerful picks taken off the table there. But we will be taking a break in just a minute before we get going to that. If you would like to support the LPL, please go consider becoming a Coffee member. Coffee is the best way to support the LPL English project, since the vast majority of the payments go directly to affecting the broadcast, either with the broadcast package or paying all the volunteers that spend a god-awful amount of hours making this project come to life. It's been a beautiful project, and we're getting towards the end. So if you want to be part of it and to help support us, please go join our Coffee. Get access to a little bit of interest in terms of the questions that are going to be asked, some of the content that we're going to have coming out as well.
Yep.
And it's the best way to support us in any fashion. Now, Alk, I know in my heart of hearts we have 4 more games. So let's go ahead and take a break. Let's get ready for game number 2, and we'll see you then.